What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast with a bonus episode. You know how we do when those hot movies come out. Justin and I get back on the mic and give you a review and our opinion, which is pretty much the only opinion you need. And this bonus episode, we're doing Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So in case you've been living under a rock, Black Panther 2 just came out, and me and Justin are going to break it down. Justin, what up, dog?
Yo, what's going on? I haven't showered all day and no one has said a word.
I can smell you through the microphone. You look like Pigpen from what's it called?
Peanuts?
Peanuts, yeah. Pigpen
Charlie Brown.
Peanuts. There's just dirt floating around you.
Dude, I literally went to the gym. So here's the story. I went to the gym at like 7:30, got back just shy of 9, and then saw the movie at 9:30 in the morning. So literally, I thought I'd have enough time to like shower and stuff, and I didn't. So then went to saw the movie, and then of course went to my buddy's house and spent all day like going through comics over there. So
was the movie theater packed when you went to it?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of kids.
So your odor might have ruined the movie for someone.
Nah, I'm pretty sure if the guy sitting next to me and then his 3 kids, they would have said something or moved. Who knows?
Okay, so let's get into it. So, as we do, we're going to break it down, kind of characters, plot, overall thoughts, things we liked, things we didn't like, and then rate it on the end. And then we will talk about post credits, teasers, that kind of stuff. So let's dive right in, man. So obviously Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. This is a strange one, man. I mean, this movie, it's also kind of like, in terms of grading movies, I feel like you kind of got to grade this one a bit on a scale because this isn't your normal movie. Obviously, this was not the plan for Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. This wasn't the original MCU game plan. The untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman obviously threw everything up in the air. And I don't want to say ruin the movie because I don't think by any means, and we'll get to it a little bit more, but it definitely, it impacted the movie, right? Would you say like this movie was all that pretty much?
Yeah, it was, and I know, so I saw it obviously on a Saturday and leading up to it, everybody who saw it, whether it was early premieres like a week ago, and then over the past few days, like Thursday night and Friday, I heard a lot of people saying, oh, the movie brought them to tears. Obviously it's a tribute to Chadwick. I didn't really feel like I felt the tribute, right? But I really wasn't emotionally attached. And maybe it's because I'm not emotionally attached to the character or the actor. I really don't know, but I didn't feel it like I was reading like people's posts of how they like, spoiler free reviews that they were doing and just, how they felt. So I don't know, like other than that, yeah, we're going to get into it, but yeah, that opening scene is just a very, a tribute to him of the great actor. And I would say it's very weird, right? Because I don't think this has ever been done in a movie where they killed a character because the actor also passed away. Like, in other movies, they've always continued with the character, whether they've come from like a book. Like you look at like movies like Harry Potter, like Dumbledore died, and I think it was like the first or second one, that actor, then they changed him. And the same thing in other movies, like they've changed actors or actresses because of that, and they've never killed off that character and left them gone.
I guess though, I mean, totally great example, but I guess if it would have been Harry Potter, we might have had a different story, in terms of it being like the main character.
Yes.
But I want to touch on what you kind of said too, because I actually 100% agree with you. And when I'm watching the movie, I kind of felt like a dick because there's times like through this whole period, even before the movie, when you see clips of Chadwick Boseman, or if you saw him in other things or tributes to him, 100%, that shit kind of got me. Like there was times before this movie where I would like see him or think about him in terms of like something that was happening, not just like, oh, randomly in my day I thought about Chadwick Boseman, but like it would bring me close to tears or very like I'd feel emotional about it. But in the movie, like the funeral scene, I wasn't really feeling it there. I didn't get. Obviously I'm like, damn, this is sad. And then you have, the opening Marvel logo. And I thought it was really, really cool that they showed all Chadwick Boseman. And it was, tinged purple for like the Wakanda type colors and everything. It was very much a Chadwick Boseman tribute. And even that was probably the closest I got. And then at the end, when they kind of like showed clips of him again, I was like, okay, but it didn't get me. I was prepared, honestly, because like you said, everyone was talking about, oh my God, it's so powerful. And so I went into it kind of like, fuck? How do I
Yeah, exactly.
how do I stop crying, protect myself from bawling in this theater? And I didn't really have that problem, but it
Yeah.
was good. It was good. I don't want to try to misconstrue that.
Oh, 100%. So let's
Um,
get into some characters.
yes. So obviously, this is very strong supporting cast of Black Panther 1. You got Shuri, you got M'Baku, you got Queen Ramonda, Okoye. I always forget the other Dora Milaje names. The chick who had the
Anika.
Nika, yeah, with the daggers or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one who took over. Spoiler alert: took over Okoye's position.
Oh, Io.
Yeah, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have Everett Ross as well, returning characters. Um, Obviously, the big things. And so, well, let's talk about all your returning characters, right? Queen Ramonda, great. I mean, wasn't a big character in the first one. It didn't feel like, right, but definitely kind of
Mm-hmm.
like stepped up in this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely female driven,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
so she definitely stood up as a character and was strong. Like as the queen, there was some role or like some stuff like she was hard. Like you didn't want to fuck with her. Like
Yeah.
that whole like security council meeting or whatever they had, and like Wakanda brings in the soldiers that they just like
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
I was like, damn, dude. Like she was a boss for sure.
Yeah, no joke on that. Okoye,
Yeah.
Danny Guri, she's great. Like she's
Right.
one of the best characters like I think she's probably one of the best like supporting characters in
Oh
any of
yeah.
the Marvel like
Oh yeah.
movies.
Just
Like
like nails the role completely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she gets her, she goes through things, and I feel like a lot of stuff happens in this movie. I think a
Yes.
lot of stuff happens in this movie more than any of the Marvel
Oh,
movies, I
oh
think.
my god. I mean, you've never seen so much. It's so funny because it is like this weird situation where the death of the main character, you are now seeing so much character development on the secondary and tertiary characters of like a franchise that you've never seen before in any
Mhm.
like Cap, Thor, Iron Man, any of those titles.
Yeah, and like so she becomes, obviously she's the general, and then she loses that title, but she's still a fight. She's still a warrior. So and she's badass when they get that Midnight Angel armor.
Mhm.
Like that's awesome. Um, and then kind of a similar thing is like Anika. Same thing. Like she's another Anika and Io both are also Dora Milaje. Like they also get their time to shine a little bit as
Right.
well. A little similar, a little bit more. I feel like Anika gets a little bit more in this movie. Um,
Yeah. And she was a little bit more rogue, not like rogue, but like kind of like she was a Dora Milaje, but you could tell she wasn't really the same model of Dora
mhm,
Milaje that the rest are. She has a little bit more independence to her. They got
yeah,
more what's the word I'm looking for? Autonomy as characters. Like they kind of had their own rather than just being a member of the Dora Milaje, they were actually kind of like set apart in this movie a little bit more.
yeah. You see them outside of their normal
Right.
duties. Next
Um,
up, who do you want to take on?
well, I mean, let's talk about Shuri. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously. So you see a ton of character development in Shuri, and we're going to throughout this because we'll have to keep coming back to Shuri because obviously she's the main character really in this movie, and she starts off with just being devastated with her lack of power to be able to save her brother, and then just trying to find her role as well in Wakanda moving forward and kind of grasping, you know, where does she go from now, and
Hmm.
obviously kind of feeling like it's her fault in a way and she's to blame for not being able to save him. Um, it's great. I mean, she you definitely see her character evolve like throughout the whole movie and take on all these roles of like obviously being like I just said, super depressed and then kind of like a big sister leadership role with Riri and then, obviously stepping into a larger leadership role when she interacts with Namor and then of course when she becomes Black Panther as well. So I
Hmm.
mean, her character is just I mean in one movie, it's like everything, you know.
Yeah, she definitely takes the biggest transitions. Um, and I just don't know, like, where do you like? Does she still sit in Wakanda? Obviously moving forward in Phase 5.
Mhm.
Will we see them again, or now does Wakanda kind of go to the side until Secret Wars, like the Kang Dynasty, that whole thing that's going to happen? Um, but yeah,
Right.
Shuri's badass. I loved her in the first one. I like Letitia Wright, actress, like without a doubt. Like she was cool as a as a B or C level character brought up in the first movie. She plays not much of a role in the Avengers, right? The
She's like a
final
man in the
movie.
chair, right? Like that's kind of was kind of her role before this movie. She's the guy in the chair kind of
Yeah,
for Black Panther and whatnot.
yeah, but definitely she was good in the first Black Panther. Totally brought her forward in this one. I feel like the trailers and the TV clips kind of gave too much away and showed a little bit too much of her in the
Yeah.
suit. Like, we were obviously after that first or second trailer, we were always guessing, is it a female? Are they bringing back Killmonger? What are they going to do? Right. But I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like at one point you knew it was a female. But yeah, I mean, Shuri's Shuri. She's definitely great. I was thrilled to see her in the suit. I thought she played a powerful role as the Black Panther, and it is, in a way, it's a tough role to be in, right?
Oh yeah.
After Chadwick Boseman dying, and you just gotta, you gotta take it. Like, there's gonna be people that aren't gonna like it, but then there are people that are gonna like it, and you just need to be that. You need to be that role, right? That's in like any character that Marvel, DC, whatever it is. Like, you always see that. Like, you have to now portray that character moving forward.
Yeah, I was thinking about this in the movie, like just how weird it would be like in real life. So like outside the movie, in real life, right? Letitia Wright is kind of let's, her career was made. She breaks out in Black Panther 1, right? As Shuri, she shows up and you can tell just about the way the cast always speaks, and even before Chadwick Boseman's passing, they were all very close, right? And then Chadwick Boseman passes and all the actors and actresses all talked about how close they were, how like he was like a brother. So like even like on a personal level for her, this is really hard because I mean, let's be honest, she has a career, and every actor's career is they want to rise and be like the lead star, of course. And so this has to be tough, I would feel like mentally as well, where now she's moved from her big break and now she possibly could be having even a bigger break now becoming like a lead star of a title. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because of, the passing of someone who was very close to her. And I feel like, emotionally that would be, if it was me, that'd be psychologically tough to do, you
Mm,
know, to
agreed.
kind of be like, you fell into this role for your career. And I'm not saying this disparagingly on her at all, but it's like, you're in this spot because this guy passed and he's very close to you. And you're probably happy about your career progression, but obviously sad. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, two other
Riri.
characters I left out. Of course, you had Nakia returns and
Yep.
M'Baku. So,
Yeah.
what about Nakia? What'd you think?
Didn't really care too much. I
No.
was surprised. I was like thinking of where she was that whole
So
time.
that's the
Like,
thing. She's been gone, right? Like you
yeah,
haven't even seen her in any. You only saw her in Black Panther. That's it. I don't
yeah.
think we saw her in Infinity War
Nope.
or Endgame or nothing.
Yeah,
She's really
nothing
the
like
only
that.
character we never saw again.
Yeah. And Baku's cool.
Oh yeah.
Definitely a male lead.
Mhm.
He's Winston Duke. He's a cool character. I
Oh
like
yeah.
him. So, definitely great. And then let's kind of just wrap up characters. Of course,
So,
Riri.
well, oh wait,
Go ahead.
one thing I want to say about M'Baku. I really loved how we've turned the corner on his character, and he's not like they're not going to go the villain route like the comics does for him.
Mm,
And I love how he very much was kind of like, of course, he challenged T'Challa in Black Panther 1, but he respects him, and now that's his role. That was his role, was like, I'm protecting Shuri, I'm
yep.
protecting what's best for you, I'm looking out for you. And then even at the end, like him stepping up and be like, "Hey, look, I mean, Shuri's doing the Black Panther thing, and I'm going to be king of Wakanda." Like that kind of aspect. I thought that was really cool. I thought his character, I really, really loved the development they did with him. So,
Yeah, he definitely had a good back and forth with a lot of the characters, and then the protection of. And, he even says that at Ramonda's funeral. He says, "I promised your brother I'd protect you." Even though, like, he's part of the tribe that doesn't live in Wakanda, like, they
right.
live on the outskirts, they don't like the technology and everything. So yeah, I thought that was a good moment as well. Between.
I got love interest vibes. Honestly, kind of
Mm,
was like, is this where they might go with this in the future?
no, I didn't feel that. I
No.
felt that with Shuri and Namor. I thought that's where that was heading. But let's go to the last two characters. So let's talk
Okay.
about Riri, right? Thoughts?
I mean, look, dude, I'm gonna be honest. I never read Riri. I'm not interested
Mm,
in rereading the comics, and I thought this portrayal of her was pretty bland. You just had this. I don't know. I thought they downplayed her, and she was a plot point. You know what she was? She's literally like the same thing America Chavez was in Doctor Strange, and I think that really takes away
mm,
from the character. It's just a plot point, and I found her completely uninteresting. There was nothing about her on screen that meant shit to me.
Okay. I agree with you. I agree with you on that point that, yeah, she's like a plot point, like America Chavez. I was very much interested and thought about this before this movie came out. Like, how are they going to bring her in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't think, to be honest, even like when they were doing the whole metal detection Wakanda machine, like, I still didn't think, oh, that's Riri because she's really smart and she builds stuff. And like, I didn't really, still wasn't really putting two and two together. And then obviously, then when they say, oh, the scientist, this is that, I'm like, okay, all right, so this is how they're going to bring Riri into this whole mix. So, but for me, man, I loved her. I thought she's great. Like, you know me, like big Ironheart fan, like big Riri fan. So,
Yeah.
you know, she was cool. Like, you get to see the Mark One, you know, the thing she has in her garage. Like, you see everything like that's Tony Stark did. And like, I'm not a big Iron Man fan, but like, it still goes back. It still goes all the way back to like Iron Man 1, where like everything is so basic. Like, just everything.
Yeah.
Just, you know, trying to create things, like seeing the blueprints on the wall, and you know, she's got her garage, and even like when they say, oh, how they built that machine, like the machine was even done by like just random parts, like nothing is
like cobbled together.
Yeah. The one thing that and yeah, people kind of, you know, the spoiled. We saw her suit like in toy version, and we're like, oh, that thing looks like a Red Ranger, right? Like, we're like, oh boy. But you know, I felt the suit. Like, once I saw it in action, I'm like, all right, it's still not the main Ironheart suit. Like, it's definitely gonna get shrunk down. It's definitely gonna change color a little bit. So, but for me, man, I thought she was cool. I'm excited for her series. I'm excited to see also again in Armor Wars, and then wherever her, you know, career path goes in the MCU.
Yeah, I didn't dislike her. It was pretty bland for me. I think the difference between her and America Chavez, which will be better for her, is that she actually has a series coming up. And so we'll get to see her more. We'll get to see more character development for her. But I really hope this isn't like, because now I feel like we're seeing a pattern here with Marvel now, where it's like, here we come. Here's a new young character. So like the next big movie, who's going to be the plot point character that they introduce, and like that's going to get old, man, if that's what Marvel's like plan is from now on.
Yeah, but did it be like, yeah, I feel like if you think back, like, and we just talked about this recently, like they did that with Black Widow, but she really wasn't a plot point in Iron Man 2. She was just someone there, and then you're like, surprise. Hawkeye was the same way, just randomly shows up for like one scene. Spider-Man really wasn't a plot point in Civil War. Black Panther was a little bit, if you think about it,
in Civil War, but he moved the needle a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I get what you're saying now with all these phase 4s and how they're introducing these characters. And I think it's because they're not legacy characters, and you don't want to just give them a movie immediately.
Right. You can't, of course. You're right.
Like, I think the way Kate Bishop was done for Hawkeye was perfect. Like, because it's a longer series. You can draw it out. And we've already known Clint for so long. Like, with like Riri, not introducing her in a way with like Tony Stark is just very odd, because that's, you know, her startup is like, she was in the Iron Man series and then using the Tony Stark AI, which I feel like that's what that thing that Shuri uses. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like Jarvis.
Yeah, it's very Jarvis-esque. I was kind of like, oh, is there a patent on this? Did you rip this off? Like, there's some IP protection here. But
I thought she was gonna like give her that, like, when she left Wakanda, like, hey, you have like an AI that you could use. And I also thought she'd give her a better suit, but I guess we'll see that in her series.
I'll tell you what, to compare it to, we rarely do this backwards like this way, but to compare it to DC, we just did our review on Black Adam. You had an introduction of Cyclone and Atom Smasher. They were not plot points. They are not legacy characters. I mean, Atom Smasher to some extent, but not that version. Mm-hmm. And they threw them in nicely. That's a way to do it. You don't have to make these people the like the crux or the MacGuffin or whatever it is of the movie. You know, that's like, hey, oh no, they're chasing America Chavez. She can do this, or oh no, this one we're gonna kill her, and this is how it all goes. It doesn't really make sense. Like, stop doing that. Just introduce a character and be like, yo, check it out. This is Riri. She makes armor. She's badass. Boom, move. You know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope Marvel doesn't continue, but
100%.
Moving on, let's get to Namor. So a lot of
let me go first.
Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna pose you a question. So
all right, go ahead. You pose the question, and then I'm gonna go.
So a lot of like, hype about it before, a lot of people not happy about it. What were your, before you saw the movie, what were your initial thoughts on Namor and how it was being played out?
Before the movie,
Before the movie, what was your
before the
initial
movie,
thought?
I was not happy that they were going with like this Aztec route.
Yeah. Okay.
Like and I don't know too much of Namor, but for the little I know of Namor and seen him reading, a few comics here and there with the Avengers and X-Men and Fantastic Four, like wasn't thrilled that I was going to see this type of version.
Okay.
And nothing against, Aztec Mayan culture.
Course,
like it's cool. No, but I want to make sure I say that because people are going to be like, oh, you hate no. I love different
this dead culture.
Exactly. Like I want to make sure everyone out there gets that I'm not that, because I think that is great history. I do like certain histories and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, but seeing Namor in the movie again, now seeing him in the movie, it's a little bit, I really didn't like him I didn't really like seeing him with that whole history. Like it bothered me. Seeing him constantly with that thing in his nose really bothered me throughout the whole movie.
Really?
But him as a character, I thought he was cool as a villain, right? Like he's a leader. Like he gets a job done for his people. He's badass. He's fighting. Like he definitely has depth, and I'm sure like where we'll see him again, who knows, right? It's interesting to see this character brought up in this movie because we feel like we've talked about this. Like, where were they going to go for Black Panther 2? I'm sure they're going to introduce Namor because they weren't going to do it in like a Fantastic Four. They weren't going to wait that long. The Wakandans and the quote unquote Atlanteans had history. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought him and his people were cool. Atuma, Namora, like they were cool as well. I just wasn't feeling him, and I don't know why. Yeah. But what about you?
So I think I'm kind of going the opposite, man. I actually was a really big fan of it. I actually might have been my favorite part of the movie was Namor. I didn't really go into it with any opinion one way or the other on Namor, mainly probably because I don't really have a ton of connection to Namor as like a reader. Outside of probably my biggest connection, like I don't give a shit about the Fantastic Four Avenger stuff. I like him as an X-Men. Like that's my biggest Namor like connection. I get the change in the, and a lot of people are going to claim, oh, it's woke. You got to do woke when Hispanic or whatever, like, man, I mean, come on, dude. How weird would it have been if you're just like, check it out. We have an Atlantis too. Like that's also really weird. Like I get what Marvel did there. And,
so you're saying DC beat them to the punch?
100%. DC beat them to the punch. And you can't be like, check it out. Here's our leader of Atlantis and do it differently, the same. I thought they nailed it. I liked so man, and this touches on what you said, because I was talking to my wife about Namor plot points and stuff, and I was like, fuck, what do I call them? The Talokans, right? Or is that what from Talokan?
Talokan?
Something, yeah, I can't call them Atlanteans. What the hell do you call them? So whatever the hell they are, I loved their underwater civilization depiction way better than
Aquaman. No.
Dude, Aquaman was basically...
No.
Dude,
all right, go ahead.
It was space underwater. That was bullshit. No. They had spaceships underwater. These people who can swim fast and talk to fish and do all this bullshit are in spaceships underwater. I thought that was garbage. It was one of the things I hated the most about Aquaman was basically you took Guardians of the Galaxy and you put them like 10,000 leagues underneath the sea. I loved how you saw these people actually swimming around, interacting, riding on... the sharks and the whales and whatnot. I thought that shit was awesome. That was way, way better than DC's Aquaman stuff.
Ugh.
And like the Namor character.
I'm going to cry, bro. I'm going to cry.
I don't know what to tell you. The Namor character, I was worried at first when he interacts with Shuri, like when he brings her down to the city and he seems like, of course, Namor can be charming, but obviously we know in the comics, he's predominantly a dickhead. And, I was like, oh no, Marvel, don't do this. Don't take him fucking nice. Don't make him like this guy. And then they kind of made him hard again. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like, here we go. Like I can see he is charming because he is a leader, but don't cross him. Like he's not going to be step to. So I liked the depiction of Namor. I really, really did. I like that there's still a secret. I like that only the Wakandans know about them. Thought that was cool, man. I dig Namor. My only complaint, I thought Atuma and Namora were bland as fuck. I mean, they were just like henchmen, and they didn't really get enough enough identity. So,
all right, now I got to throw the DC in there.
Yeah, do you want to speak on my claims?
Fucking Christ! All right, so here's the thing with Atlantis. The history of Atlantis was they were like futuristic in a way. They were like the Wakandans, like they had technology, they had all this stuff, and they used it and they abused it, which sunk them into the sea. Right. But then they still had that technology, and obviously they couldn't come up on land. So yeah, like it is the underwater. That's why they have like all that technology down there. And it's bright, and I thought that was awesome, and I loved Atlantis in the DC. And I know people are like, "Oh, Justin's a DC guy." No, it's not. Like I just thought it was great, and I think watching like that was like I was waiting for this moment. I really was waiting for this moment to see what you were going to say, and also just when I was in the theater, like, what is this going to look like? What is this central civilization underwater going to look like? Are they going to go to the route kind of similar to Atlantis? Like, is it going to be bright, or is it going to be very like plain and bland? And I got the plain and bland version, and I just wasn't a fan of it. And you know, to each their own. Like some people are going to like it, some people are not going to like it, like you and I. But man, I don't know, bro. I don't know how.
But you gotta go different, because you're right. Yeah, you beat them to the punch, man. Like it would have been a ripoff if you did the same shit. You know,
I just thought it was like too dark. I almost felt like it was DC dark, like down there.
It's underwater, bro. Underwater.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's not.
Why would they have why would
because there are fluorescent like fish light and all those different things down there. And the thing is also that the Atlanteans see in a different light. Like they see differently. Like that was the whole point of like when I can't think of Willem Dafoe's character was training Aquaman when he brings him down to the sea. They see Forco. They see differently. Yeah. So like that's what it was so cool. So technically it probably is not like that, but because they see differently is the reason why it looks so bright and makes it amazing to the eye.
I did like the physiology stuff in this movie as well. How like underwater they were normal tinged, and then when they got above water they were blue. I thought
that was very interesting. Yeah. But back to like what we said earlier about with like Shuri and Namor, like I really saw the connection there. Like I felt like he was trying to bring her in to be like his princess. Yeah. To really have that connection between Wakanda and Talokan, right? That's
Talokan. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I thought that was gonna go. I thought he was like, "Oh, take my hand in marriage and we'll unite the two tribes in a way." So
okay, so appearance of Namor. What was your thoughts? Because I thought I loved, dude. I loved the winged ankles. People have been talking shit on it. I thought it was so cool. I loved the winged ankles. I've also heard a lot of people talk shit about like the guy not being buff enough or whatever. It's funny though, and I'm seeing these people like, oh, why doesn't he have more muscles? I'm like, bitch, why don't you have more muscles? Like, what the fuck? Like, who the fuck are you? You know? So, like,
it's fine. Yeah, he was fine. Like again, they're bringing like a Mexican culture to the MCU. Like that's where they're going with everything, right? They're trying to include everybody, and I get it. It's fine. It's just not the Namor that I wanted. That's all. Like he was great as a character. Like as a villain for the movie, he was a great. Was he better than Killmonger?
Not as a villain, no.
Yeah,
not as a villain. Killmonger might be one of the only true villains in the MCU.
Yes. And let's speak on him next.
Yeah. Well, wait, real quick. Last question about Namor. Do you think Namor, Tenoch Huerta, do you think he has a chance to steal Mr. Fantastic's girl?
No.
No? You don't think Invisible Woman shows up, this dude slipping in her DMs? You don't think it's gonna happen? Oh, that's a plot point on Fantastic Four.
I know it is, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Captain Steal Your Girl. That's Namor, bro.
Yeah, I know, but that's gotta be like 10 years down the line.
I love that he said mutant too. I love that they nailed the mutant part. I love.
Yeah, they did bring that. All right, let's get into some stuff that really like pushes the needle forward. Finally, in Phase 4. Hell yeah. So, did not see Miss Fontaine coming back.
Oh no,
Allegra,
I know, right?
Like not at all. Like I knew the guy who plays Everett Ross. I knew he was going to come back because obviously this is like his movie type of thing, but did not think that we were going to see her. Like
and
at
it's
all.
Like strong Nick Fury vibes, obviously. Like,
yes, And I was really hoping for her to say something along the lines of like, well, I'm getting a team together,
Right.
or, my task force. And I'm just like, I really was waiting for like that to happen. Be like, okay, finally we're moving forward and we're like going to get the Thunderbolts like for
Yeah,
real.
yeah. I love her attitude. Like I love she's feisty. She's kind of like a bitch, she's secretly
Hmm.
the bitch. She's like, "Hey, you're my ex-husband." And then she seems all nice. She's like, "Dude, I bugged your phone. I bugged those bracelets before you even got there or whatever." Like
Yeah.
she's dastardly, man. She's like, you got to watch out for her. I
Yeah.
loved it. I'm interested. I want more. I want more.
Yeah. She's definitely, yeah, she is basically like the Nick Fury now of the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah.
like for the government. And this, not as a takeaway, but I feel like maybe that role could have been General Ross. Like,
Yeah, but he
um,
doesn't have spy vibes.
mm,
So it's a different type of role. I don't think he
yeah,
has that Nick Fury spy vibe. He's just a grunt soldier, smart general,
yeah,
obviously. She
okay,
was great, man. That was a big surprise. So
yeah. And then obviously the second surprise.
yeah, so I think it was a surprise, and I think we kind of knew it had to happen. Obviously, once again with the loss of Chadwick Boseman, you have to touch back. It's weird to not touch back on everything. So I think it was really, really cool they brought in Michael B. Jordan. Because I mean, like, look, what were you gonna do? Sure, he's gonna take the herb, and then she's not gonna see her brother because they already said they're not gonna do any kind of CGI for him. So I thought that was great. I really
But is
loved
that who you thought? Like, who did you think?
shit. I hoped for him. But I figured it was gonna be her mom, to be honest.
See, I thought her mom. I thought, but I also thought. Actually, no, I thought her father. To be honest,
Okay.
but then hoped for her mom. But then thinking more like, yeah, it's probably going to be Killmonger. But it was still cool.
I
Like
thought it
it
was
was
awesome. Yeah.
walking around and seeing him sitting on the throne. I was just like, I had a nice grin on my face. I
Oh
was like,
yeah, dude. And he's
yeah,
badass, man. Like I want him to. I was like, shit. How can they get him back alive? Like figure that out. Like I want him back, dude. I loved Killmonger. I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was very once again like we talked about Shuri's like advancement of a character, and it taps into this like she's in this dark place, and here's this guy who operates off vengeance and like that kind of shit as well. And he was really like, who else are you going to see? It made sense. Like if you come into this place in that
hmm
mindset,
hmm
you're kind of going to get it's almost like reality where people think the energy you put out, whether it's positive or negative, that's what you get back, right? So she goes
true.
into this extra world or whatever, and she's got that in her heart, and guess who's there? Homeboy. Like um I thought it was great, dude. God, I want more. I don't want him to be gone.
And she doesn't tell. And I know Nikita asks her twice, but she doesn't say who she saw. Right?
Right? No, she never does. She
Hmm.
never does. So
I found that really like interesting.
mhm.
But yeah,
um
she's like the times that she does ask her, and she talks about like revenge and this stuff, and it's so powerful. It's
yeah,
such a powerful thing for even again Michael B. Jordan's like one scene, and it was just like
dude.
so good.
Yeah, so good. So obviously we get to the final battle.
Hmm.
Shuri versus Namor. Great fights. I really like the fighting here. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I thought the Midnight Angels thing was whack. Like it's just I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm sick of suits of armor. Like it's just like every character is a goddamn Iron Man now. Like, it's just stupid. I didn't like that. I thought it looked cheesy. I agreed with when they showed him and they were talking shit on him. I was like, yeah, that shit looks cheesy as fuck. Like, don't wear that.
Did they ever explain though how when like Okoye even says that like she's like, oh, I took down 3 guys and then they just got back up? Like they don't really explain that.
Right. They didn't explain like their physiology or are they stronger. He did at one point. Namor said like my people are stronger. I
Hmm.
believe when he was like explaining his people. But they didn't explain like why and like how they heal, I guess, or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what I didn't understand. Like how she like took down 3 people and then they got back up. Like I was like, I don't really get this.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll get more explanation on that kind of stuff later. You know what else they didn't really explain either was when they first saw Namor at the pool when Queen Ramonda and Shuri did, and they say he's covered in vibranium. They never really came back and explained like, well, obviously there's vibranium near their thing, and they made their fortress or whatever out of vibranium. I think they said underwater, but like, were they doing the same thing, creating weapons? And if they were, why aren't they as advanced necessarily?
Well, I think because he was born in with it. Because his mother takes the stuff, and she's still in the womb, so it would cover him. That's what gives him his powers.
Oh, but I thought she was referring to like the adornments he had on him was like he was wearing like clothing.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Made out of vibranium.
Okay.
So the Atlanteans, or goddamn it, the Talokans or whatever are
Talokans
are I don't know. Maybe we need more explanation. I want to know more about that. So,
all right.
So should we do post-credit scene?
Post-credit? You mean mid-credit scene? There was no post-credit.
Sorry, and then come back and give.
Yeah, that's fine. Mid-credit scene. Go ahead.
So first off, I thought the if there was any scene in the movie that kind of like got me in my feels, it was that the last ending shot with Shuri, like on the beach, crying. Like, because to me, I'm watching this, and I'm honestly like, I was thinking about this multiple times with her. Like, I bet this isn't really hard to act. Like, she's probably thinking about Chadwick Boseman, and it's all probably pretty fucking natural. It's probably a really hard movie to film. It's probably a really hard movie to film for his friends. So I thought that was strong. Obviously, mid-credit scene, we see Nakia come out, and she has a son with her, and claims that I don't want to put it in like the parentage in question. She says it's T'Challa's son. And the internet is
stupid.
The internet is weird, bro.
You're all stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude. So like, yeah, obviously there's all these people who are bought into Tosin and claiming that Toussaint is Tosin. And I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest with you.
I know. Yeah. If you're dumb enough to literally go out there and buy whether you buy Black Panther 3 right now or the Avengers Heroic Age, like, I'm sorry. Like, there's better books to buy. Like, just give me your money and I'll send you better books. Seriously.
Yeah, I think more than anything, I think it was honoring Chadwick Boseman and the character of T'Challa. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, that's the same thing. Like, I know this is completely different, but that's like the same thing in like Fast and the Furious. When like Paul Walker dies, and then Dom names his son after. Yeah. That's like the same thing.
I also got real big, obviously not as like heartbreaking, but like Dark Knight Rises vibes when you find out Joseph Gordon-Levitt's nickname is Robin. You know what I mean? It's kind of like an homage to it. It's like, this isn't necessarily Robin, but it's like, hey, check it out. Here's fan kind of like service in a way. I don't know, whatever. I don't really give a shit about your Tosin books. So like this dude's what, like 5 years old, 6 years old. You're not going to see him anytime soon. And any kind of like, he ain't even going to be in Young Avengers unless we fast forward in time. I mean, I highly doubt Wakanda's given this kid the fucking Black Panther herb at age 12.
Like the only thing, it's not for future. And obviously this is way off, but like the only thing I could see is like down the line with like the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars is seeing Michael B. Jordan come back as Black Panther from like another universe.
Yeah. Or I could see in like a Secret Wars, you have an adult Prince T'Challa, you know, like, hey, look, this is Toussaint T'Challa, whatever, grown up, and he's Black Panther in this universe already.
Exactly.
Something like that.
But yeah, God, that mid-credit scene made everyone's phone like on fire once they saw that, unfortunately.
But you know what? That didn't, to me, and I could be wrong, but that doesn't move the needle for me. Like that was
nope, not
honor.
at all.
It felt like honor to a character, and that's it. It's not like I'm waiting in the wings. Like it's not like what we saw in Thor, where like Hercules gets introduced. You know, it's not like I'm like, oh God, well, I can't wait to see Toussaint show up. You know, like
the thing is, like, I knew the mid-credit scene, so I left as soon as the movie was over, and I was the first one up and out the door. Like,
so have you actually seen it, or did you just read about it?
Oh no, because people told me about it, and then I went on YouTube between Thursday and Friday and like Googled it, YouTubed it, and like you could find like someone with their phone like real close to them, and you could kind of see it, and I'm just like, whatever, like. I got to go to the bathroom, people. I just held it for like 2 hours. Like,
so, okay. Final thoughts on the movie overall,
dude. It's a tough one. It's really a tough one. because we've been doing this a lot for the movies. Obviously, ending Phase 4. Um, man, I know because we just did Black Panther, and I don't want to like feel
Black
like if I give this one worse or better or the same, people are going to be like, well, you gave Black Panther, Black Adam this. I don't know, man. It's tough. Like, do you look at a movie as like this is just like a tribute movie, and
right.
it's kind of like a side project? Like, I don't know. To be honest, man, I'm only going to give it like a 7.
Okay.
Like,
Rate it this way. Out of Phase 4, where do you rate it? Out of the other Phase 4 movies, where do you put it?
that's probably the best. So I think movie wise, and I feel like I need to, in a way, I need to look this up, but like, I think Shang-Chi was better.
Okay.
I think Eternals was better. Spider-Man. Yeah. And like, I think that's obviously I put it above like Black Widow.
Or Doctor Strange.
Ooh, yeah. Doctor Strange still does it for me. And obviously above, way above Thor. So yeah, I guess I'd really have to go and look back and see what we gave like Shang-Chi and Eternals. But yeah, I'd probably put it in the middle of the pack.
Okay.
It's not a terrible movie, but I wasn't like and like I didn't go out. I didn't leave the movie being like, wow, like that was insane. Like when I walked out of Shang-Chi, I was like, wow, that really impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
gotcha.
Like Black Widow didn't come out in theaters because it was during COVID. Eternals, like I knew nothing about Eternals and I thought that movie was awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely middle of the pack for me.
Okay.
So like a 7 to an 8. I mean, that's unfortunate. If people think I'm giving it a bad review, it's not a bad review. It's just not.
Yeah.
So you.
So I'm going to say something a little controversial. I think that kind of touches on what you're talking about. Is I feel like there's a fear these days with like rating these movies bad because of the social justice era we kind of live in. You and I talked about this like offline previously about Black Panther 1, right? Like Black Panther 1, everyone was like, oh my God, greatest movie of all time. It was so amazing, blah, blah, blah. It was so fantastic. And I was like, well, I mean, it's decent. It's a good movie. Obviously, the stuff culturally with the movie in terms of like the Black supporting cast and the Black actors, the Black directors, the crew and all that, very groundbreaking in terms of society and stuff. And that's awesome. I don't want to say that's not important, but that's not why I go watch these movies or go to see movies or the comic book movies. So, and I told you this comment and you laughed about it. I want to make sure I put it in this because it seemed like it was a hit. Yes. Black Panther #1, and this might piss people off and feel free to be angry and
stop listening to DMs,
us. But Black Panther 1 is literally The Lion King. It's the same plot. It's like you got this guy who's a prince. His father dies. Someone in his family is vying for the throne as well. Kills him, thinks he's dead, disappears, comes back, gets the throne back. I mean, it's not a groundbreaking plot of Black Panther 1 by any means. It's not a fresh story. It's not a new story. Not at all. It's Lion King, I said the same thing about Wonder Woman. Everyone thought Wonder Woman 1, greatest movie, first female superhero, lead actress, blah, blah, blah. So fucking fantastic and amazing. Average. It was Captain America, First Avenger, in the least or the less exciting World War. Like, in my opinion, it's the same goddamn movie, except World War II is cooler than World War One because you got Nazis. So I feel like people are afraid to rate these movies, these like social justice type movies. Maybe that's not the right term either, but movies that are important socially. Let's say that.
Culturally
and socially, the movies that are important. But it was good. I liked it. I very much enjoyed the movie. Like I said, I loved the Namor stuff. I thought it was really cool. I'm probably with you. I think I'm probably a hard 8. I'm not getting the 7 realm. I guess my concern with this movie though is like there was so much like importance and so much you could feel the loss of Chadwick Boseman so much, right? That's what drove this movie. You do a Black Panther 3, we can't go back to that. Right. So like, I don't know.
You can't harp on it.
Yeah, and I don't know if these characters can hold a third movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Shuri's there yet. Um, I don't know. I don't know where you go with Wakanda and Black Panther moving forward. I don't think it's gonna be the same, unfortunately. And yeah,
Well, I think we've talked about it briefly, like a Dora Milaje show.
right. And I think they've talked about it as well, right? Or a
Yeah.
Wakanda TV. They were gonna do a Wakanda show,
Yeah,
right?
like that's where you can go. You don't need, you don't need Shuri in it. You have these other actors and actresses that can easily, fill the scene. We had, Io in Captain America and Winter Soldier. Like that was cool
Right.
to see. So, the Wakandans we're still in that phase 4 other than this movie.
Right. I think we talked about this previously too on a Wakanda show. You could do like focus on like the war dogs, what Nakia used to be, how there
Mhm.
was like these war dogs in all these different countries, kind of like sleeper agents.
Well, I don't know about Nakia anymore because of
Not
where
her,
this
but like
movie went.
other
But yeah,
ones.
like Okoye and
Yeah.
Io and
And
Anika. Like,
they talked about Okoye's husband in that one scene, and
yes.
obviously it was strange he wasn't back. Obviously that actor's kind of blowing up as well too.
Oh yeah, well,
Um,
because I think because he was
Nope.
busy shooting. Nope.
Yeah. So the return of him lends some more star power to this cast. I
Mhm.
just, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm worried about the future of like the Wakanda Black Panther uh,
Franchise.
franchise. Yes, thank you.
Mm.
So, but I like the movie. I enjoyed the movie. It's probably, yeah, I'm with you in terms of rating the other movies. I think I liked Eternals the most, which people might be pissed at me for saying that. I like Shang-Chi. Um, I think Black Panther is there with, I think I'm probably tying Black Panther and Doctor Strange because I think they did different things for both those movies moved the needle for me.
Hmm.
Um, but they were different, completely different type movies. You know what? I'm surprised you didn't like this movie more because this was genuinely a MCU movie that didn't have much humor. And because I
Yeah.
don't think that they obviously with Chadwick Boseman, it's hard to make this a light movie. It was a dark movie.
Yeah. See, like they have the comedy, but I like the way it's done. Like it's not
Right.
meant for everybody in the audience to go like laughing crazy. Like the things that M'Baku says, the things that Okoye says, the way they
Right.
speak, it's very prim and proper. So like when they make like a sarcastic remark, it's a joke, but it's still like it's still straight and narrow. Everything else is always like, you're waiting for the character literally to just like look at the screen like he's looking at the audience.
Right.
Joke.
Or two goats to make loud noises. So yeah, I mean,
Stupid.
yeah, I
Oh
think Black
God, I can't even. I don't want to go. Real quick. This is throwing off. But yesterday was my father's birthday. Happy 70th birthday to my dad on Veterans Day, and we went out to dinner. And I forget how the conversation came up, but I said I was like, I'm going to see Black Panther today. And my dad's like, yeah. He's like, I watched Thor, and it was absolutely terrible. And my dad's like, again, my dad's 70 years old. Like he's not like a huge comic book, but he'll watch the movies. He's like, that movie was terrible. So he's like, the goats were so annoying.
So yeah, overall enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it's. I'm happy. My biggest takeaway from this movie was the Fontaine, like her,
Okay.
like Contessa coming, and like that was the cool for me. That, and of course seeing Riri, but yeah, in no way is it a bad movie. It didn't like awe me as I walked out of the theater.
Gotcha.
Like I was like, okay, it was cool. It was a movie. Like,
For me, it was Namor. I feel like the implications of Namor in the MCU are so large and can do so much. And I thought they did such a great job that I'm excited to see more. I want to see more.
mhm.
Yeah, for sure. And like
Okay,
you said, yeah, Valentina and Riri as well. New characters that we know we're going to see again. So there is like
exactly.
a pushing the needle type thing.
All right.
So that's it, everybody. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the only review you're going to need to hear because everything we said was accurate. But yeah, let us know in the comments, shit on us, get really mad at me for the comments I made or Justin for the comments he's made. But that's all we got. Anything else coming up? This is probably dropping if you're listening to this. We're dropping this probably Monday or Tuesday next week, which would be the 14th or 15th, some shit like that. Yeah, 14th or 15th. Give people a couple days to see the movie. Obviously, if you're listening at this point, you've already listened to everything, so you heard all the spoilers. Surprise!
Yeah,
but
that's it, everybody. Thanks for checking out.
That's it. We will catch you later on our scheduled streams. Everybody, peace.